In the Warhammer 40,000 universe, victory does not always mean survival. There are wars the Imperium of Man wins, and then there are wars it survives by erasing the evidence of how they were won. This is the story of one such victory. A war where the enemy was defeated, the world was saved, and yet the people responsible for that success quietly disappeared from history. No statues were raised. No honors were given. Because what they did worked too well, and what it revealed was too dangerous for the Imperium to allow to exist. The Imperium presents itself as humanity's final shield against extinction, a vast empire held together by faith, obedience, and endless sacrifice. It claims that every loss is necessary, every death meaningful, and every atrocity justified by survival. But beneath this image lies a darker truth: the Imperium does not reward those who cross forbidden lines, even when it orders them to do so. Instead, it deletes them. It buries their names, destroys their records, and pretends the line was never crossed at all. Not because the act was heretical, but because it exposed something the Imperium cannot afford its citizens to understand. This video is not about heroes, and it is not about villains in the traditional sense. It is about logistics officers, administrators, and functionaries who followed orders perfectly. It is about a war won not through courage or brilliance, but through calculation and efficiency. A victory achieved by redefining what a human life is worth, and how cheaply it can be spent. There were no demons involved, no madness, no chaos corruption. Only forms, quotas, and supply chains, all working exactly as intended. At the center of this story is a simple, horrifying question: why would an empire that is willing to sacrifice billions to survive choose to erase the very people who delivered victory? The answer reveals the Imperium's greatest fear. It does not fear losing wars. It does not fear death on a galactic scale. What it fears is knowledge. Knowledge that proves there is no sacred line it will not cross. Knowledge that shows humanity itself is just another resource, to be consumed when necessity demands it. By the end of this video, you will understand why the Imperium's most dangerous weapons are not locked away in vaults or forbidden armories, but hidden in redacted reports and demolished facilities. You will see how a single victory exposed a truth so damning that it had to be erased, and why the Imperium of Man survives not by preserving humanity, but by forgetting what it does in the name of survival. The siege of Alutus Tertius was not dramatic in the way imperial propaganda prefers. There were no heroic last stands, no glorious counteroffensives, and no sudden reinforcements arriving from the warp. Instead, there was slow erosion. Decades of continuous warfare reduced the forged world to a machine grinding itself apart. The manufactorum still stood, the macro cannons still aimed outward, and the population still labored, but the system was failing from within. Ammunition stockpiles dwindled. Supply convoys vanished into the void. The Imperium did not lack soldiers, it lacked shells to fire. Guardsmen could hold the line only as long as the guns behind them could speak, and soon those guns fell silent. Every request for resupply disappeared into administrative backlogs measured in years, not days. The enemy did not need to breach the walls, time itself was doing the work for them. This was the Imperium's most dangerous kind of defeat, not sudden annihilation, but logistical suffocation. It was in this environment that desperation stopped being an emotion and became policy. Survival no longer meant preserving the world as it was, only ensuring it did not fall today. Every solution that once seemed unthinkable began to feel merely impractical. And when practicality is the only remaining measure, morality becomes a luxury the Imperium cannot afford. At first, the idea surfaced as a rumor. Whispers passed between adepts and tech priests, dismissed as enemy psychological warfare. Living ammunition sounded like heresy, the kind of absurdity bred by fear and exhaustion. But when the Biologus Exploitation Directorate formally presented the proposal, it was anything but madness. It was precise. Clinical. Backed by projections and efficiency models. Human bodies could be processed into artillery payloads, compressed and augmented with chemical charges, designed to detonate on impact while dispersing organic fragments across enemy positions. The result was not just physical destruction, but psychological devastation. These were not symbolic weapons, they were effective. They required no rare materials, no external supply lines, only a resource the Imperium possessed in abundance. The subjects would remain conscious until launch, a detail carefully noted and then discarded as irrelevant. Consciousness did not reduce yield. Suffering did not affect trajectory. This was not cruelty for its own sake. It was optimization. And once framed that way, approval became inevitable. The first to be processed were penal battalions. Criminals, dissidents, the condemned, lives already written off by imperial law. Their conversion was recorded as efficient resource reallocation. But the war did not end, and efficiency demanded scale. Eligibility expanded quietly. Factory workers who failed production quotas were reassigned. Entire family units followed, categorized as dependent inefficiencies. The system required consistency, and consistency required numbers. MAG Quartermaster Dallin Crass ensured the process ran smoothly. He did not scream orders or revel in authority. He adjusted supply flows, balanced inputs, and eliminated bottlenecks. Human beings became inventory. Each launch was logged, each body accounted for, each reduction justified by projected gains. Colleagues began avoiding him, not out of fear, but discomfort. Crass noticed, recorded the drop in cooperation, and compensated for it. The system did not slow. It improved. At no point did it collapse under its own horror. It simply expanded, because nothing within it was designed to stop. The effect on the battlefield was immediate. Enemy assaults faltered. Trenches were abandoned. Vox intercepts revealed panic and disbelief. The weapon worked exactly as designed. The siege began to turn. Victory, once impossible, became inevitable. But victory carried a cost the Imperium does not like to acknowledge. The population of Alutus Tertius thinned rapidly. Production quotas could no longer be met because there were fewer hands to meet them. That problem, too, was solved. Enhanced compression techniques increased yield per subject. Essential personnel were reclassified as expendable assets. Senior adepts. Logistics officers. Engineers. Crass watched his own mentor processed, not with outrage, but with the cold understanding that the system required continuity, not sentiment. The Forge world was saved. Its people were not. By the time the enemy was broken, there was little left to defend. After 412 days, victory was declared. Almost immediately, the program vanished. Records were sealed, then erased. Facilities were demolished. Data cores were purged. Official histories made no mention of the weapon that broke the siege. Crass was not executed. He was reassigned, quietly censured, and removed from positions of influence. His crime was not participation. It was visibility. The Imperium does not punish atrocity, it punishes proof. Left alone with the knowledge of what he had become, Crass understood the truth at last. He was not a monster. He was worse. He was effective. And somewhere else in the galaxy, when another war reaches the same point of desperation, the same solution will be rediscovered, authorized, and erased again. Because in the Imperium of Man, every human is ammunition. Some are just fired later than others. The Imperium of Man will never acknowledge this story. It will never appear in official records, never be taught to new officers, never be honored in stone or scripture. And yet, it represents the Imperium more honestly than any victory parade ever could. Because this is not an empire that survives through hope, or unity, or moral strength. It survives by deciding, again and again, that there is no price too high as long as the bill is paid by someone else. When the war ends, the guns fall silent, and the banners are raised, what remains is not triumph, but absence, entire populations reduced to a footnote that no longer exists. Dallin Crass is not haunted by screams or blood. He is haunted by spreadsheets that balanced perfectly. By projections that came true. By the knowledge that he did exactly what the Imperium demanded of him, and did it better than anyone else could have. His punishment was not death, but understanding. Understanding that loyalty does not protect you. Competence does not save you. And victory does not grant absolution. The Imperium will use you, and when your usefulness becomes inconvenient, it will erase you without hesitation. This is the truth the Imperium cannot allow to spread. Not that it commits atrocities, that is already known. But that there is no meaningful distinction between citizen, soldier, and resource. Everyone is expendable, eventually. The only difference is timing. Somewhere in the galaxy, another world is being pushed toward the same breaking point. Another officer is running the numbers. Another forbidden solution is being quietly approved. And when it works, it too will be buried. Because in the Imperium of Man, humanity is not what is being protected. It is what is being spent. And as long as the war continues, and it always will, the Imperium will keep firing its most abundant ammunition, while insisting it has no other choice.